Chapter 8, Part 2. Many more vile and abominable things were taught by this group in those days, which drove me to search the scriptures more carefully. Through this study, and through the light and testimony of God's word, I was not only enlightened, but was greatly confirmed and comforted in the truth. As I said, the guilt of sin helped me, for as soon as the guilt would come upon me, the blood of Christ did take it off again, and again, and again, wonderfully according to the scriptures. Oh, friends, cry out to God to reveal Jesus Christ to you. There is no one who can teach his truth like him. It would take too long for me to tell you specifically how God taught me in all the things of Christ, and how he led me into his words. Yes, he opened them to me, made them shine before me, and caused them to dwell within me, speak to me, and comfort me over and over of his own being, the being of his Son, and Spirit, and Word, and Gospel. As I said before, though, the general course that God took with me to teach me was to allow me to be afflicted with temptation concerning my guilt and sin, and then he would reveal his word and truth to me. Sometimes I would lie under sin's great guilt, even as if crushed to the ground, and then the Lord would show me the death of Christ, and so sprinkle my conscience with his blood, that I would find that before I was ever aware that in my conscience, where the law did reign and rage before, now the peace and love of God through Christ would rest and abide in me. I now believed that I had evidence from heaven of my salvation, with many golden seals all hanging in my sight. I could now remember this manifestation and the other discovery of grace with comfort. I would often long and desire that the last day would come, that I might forever be inflamed with the sight and joy and communion with him whose head had been crowned with thorns, whose face had been spit upon, whose body had been broken, and whose soul had been made an offering for my sins. Whereas before I lay continually trembling at the mouth of hell, now I thought I was so far away from it that I could not even see it when I looked back. Oh, how I wished that I were 80 years old, that I might die quickly, so that my soul might go to rest. While I still had some of these temptations, I desired to read about some godly man's experience from the past, from hundreds of years before I was born. It seemed that those who wrote in my day only wrote about other people's experiences or about what they had studied or heard about, but had not experienced these things for themselves, and so were not writing from experience. As I was hoping to read of such an experience, the God in whose hands are all our days and ways showed me a book by Martin Luther one day. It was his commentary on the book of Galatians. The Luther book was so old that it was ready to fall apart if I did but turn it over. I was very pleased, though, that I had come across such an old book. When I had looked through the book only a little bit, I saw that Luther's experience and writing so much resembled my own spiritual situation that it was as if the book had been written out of my heart. This made me marvel, For Martin Luther did not know anything of the state of Christians now, but had written and spoken of the experience of former days. Besides, Luther, in that book, most seriously debated the rise of these temptations, namely, blasphemy, desperation, and similar things, showing that the law of Moses, as well as the devil, death, and hell, had a very great hand in them. At first, this seemed very strange to me, but after thinking and observing, I found that this was indeed true. Of specifics, I do not now need to say more, other than I want to say before all people that I prefer this book, Martin Luther's commentary on Galatians, above all the books that I have ever read, with the exception of the Holy Bible, as most fit for a wounded conscience. I now found that though I thought I had loved Jesus Christ dearly before, my soul and affections now cleaved unto him. I felt love to him as hot as fire. Now, as Job said, I thought I would die in my nest. Job chapter 29, verse 18. But I quickly found that my great love was but little. And I, who thought that I had such burning love for Jesus Christ, could seem to lose such affection for him and look away from him by any small distraction. God can certainly humble us, and we cannot often see our own pride. Soon after this, my love for him was tested.